everyone, this is Persephone and this is a brutal video, so please prepare yourselves. I have many people who are contacting me and they have delusions in their head, or they're just plain heartbroken and they're saying, why do I attract only toxic people? How can I attract the type of person that I want? Why am I eternally single, and so on. So today I'm going to go through some reasons that no one is ever going to tell you, and I hope that after watching this you're going to start making the necessary changes to help yourselves. If you look everywhere around you in popular culture, American movies, K-pop dramas, fake book, the place where all the false fake relationships are blossoming, you're going to see that there is a person, they have their life in order, and then they meet some kind of special person and they be together and their life is transformed and their own fairy tale starts, right? So most people live like that, and to add to the problem, they start reading all of this pseudo-spirituality that I'm going to visualize a great guy, I'm going to visualize I deserve the best, and I'm going to attract it. And then nothing works. You stay single, or you move from toxic relationship to toxic relationship, and you don't know why. You don't know what happened. And you feel like you're missing out, you're doing something wrong, and so on. So in this video, because I have already spoken about why you're single in the past, that you don't work out enough, you don't make enough money, you're not tall enough, and so on, I'm going to emphasize in a more brutal point. You're boring. You cannot attract the people you want because you are boring. And I say this having people coming every day, literally sending me hundreds of messages, which are pretty much messages of me being asked to entertain them. And I say this in a sense of, not that I'm better than you, but it's very, very tiresome, and I would never date any man that I need to entertain and he doesn't have anything to offer back. For example, because I have had quite an, let's say, unusual life, to not say freak show, although it is a freak show, there are many people who come to me with questions and they're saying, how did this happen? How did you grow up? What are you doing right now? Tell us extreme fiendom stories, tell us extreme femdom stories, and so on. And those people approach me not in a sense of, okay, I want to interview you or I want to make a podcast or whatever, which would be understandable, but in a sense of, oh my God, if I dated you, my life would be so interesting. And they are people that within one day or even less than a day, you have exhausted whatever you could possibly say to them. And after that, it's pure boredom. The average guy who is like this, and I'm saying guy not in a sexist way, could be women as well. It's a person that they have a job, usually something boring and repetitive, like they work in an office. They probably have one pet. They have a few friends that they're also boring. They have 2 or 3 friends or a best friend they're referring to all the time, their parents, and that's about it. Even worse, they could be living in some place like Zerwater, Alaska, that has no culture, it's some American wasteland, and they feel entitled to dating me because why not? You know, you are there, I saw your videos, and oh my God, we are destined to be together. And I'm using myself as an example, but people could be doing this to anyone, okay? I don't consider myself better in that sense. I'm using my own experience to help you understand. And the brutal thing that I'm trying to explain here is, what's in there for me to date such a boring person? I'm a person that I like to learn from other people. I learn every day from my submissives as well, from the other goddesses who are contacting me, from people who are sending me smart emails. I'm not going to bury myself into some kind of boring life so that someone else has their entertainment. And I know other people who also have their own businesses, who are cam girls, who are scientists, and most of them, if they weren't as politically correct and they had less filters, because I'm speaking in a no filter Asperger type of video right now, they would have admitted that as well. They would say that the person who waits for someone to transform their lives is usually a boring person, is usually a person who just believes whatever is popular. And now you're going to say, okay, then what are we supposed to do, right? The first thing to do is to ditch the popular beliefs that they are ruining your life. And the popular belief is you have to be dependent on others, it's normal to form bonds with other people, you need to just be positive and good things are going to come, and a bunch of other brain ebola I'm even too disgusted to repeat. I believe that you have to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, make your own life interesting first, before you feel entitled to attracting someone who is also perceived as interesting. And I don't mean this just from a law of attraction type of way. Most people, the moment they get into a relationship, the moment they get into a marriage, they throw everything out of the window. There is a person here that I know that she has a business, and 5 years ago, before she got married, outside her business, she had one very beautiful garden. She had some kind of purple lilies and other flowers, and people would stop to admire it. Now that she got married, she put on weight, the garden is a wasteland, and all of her life revolves around her husband, who is a fat fuck who doesn't work. So when you end up like this, you can't really say, why is my husband going to cheat? Or if there's something happens and break up, how am I going to find someone else? Because society tells you that, oh, focus on that special person, be together. What I do is that whatever people can take from me, I'm fine with losing it. And if that sounds sick or psycho, I don't care. What do I mean by that? I'm going to use Kim as an example because, like I said, it's better compared to talking like some scholar with weird metaphors and weird like analogies. In 2015, when I found out that Kim had lied about pretty much everything, especially his toxic family, I went through such a shock that I always say I died in 2015 and I'm a different person today. It's like I'm my ghost, like a revenge ghost. I say that because back then I was still moderately influenced from when you're married to someone, you have to rely on them to an extent, right? That's what everybody's telling you, right? You need to find a reliable person. And that made me a human trafficking victim. That's what happened because I believed his bullshit. And by human trafficking victim, if you are one of the new subscriber crowd and you don't know what I'm talking about, his cancerous Asian mother wanted me to be some kind of his cancerous Asian mother wanted me as a mail order Russian bride to go to the United States and work in her filthy bakery 14 hours a day without pay. Because, hey, you know, Eastern European people would just fuck for a sandwich, right? So after that, in 2016, I was losing through the entire 2016. I kept losing and losing and losing. I lost my awesome job, I lost my health, I lost my teeth. Some of my teeth had to be removed because the autoimmune disease was flaring up. I lost my friends. I lost my dignity. That was the most important part. I felt like I had lost my dignity because I started searching for divorce lawyers and they were telling me you have to be married for at least 6 months to file for a divorce. And his friends kept harassing me, his family kept harassing me, his mother even made a fake report at the embassy saying that her son is missing and probably I've turned him into premium cat food for my cats. So the police came to investigate because, you know, when a foreigner is missing is a pretty big deal. And when I was sitting there, extremely miserable, and I was asking myself, people say I'm smart. People have been saying my entire life I'm smart, like you're so smart, you're so smart. I'm the compliment that I get the most. If I'm so smart, how the fuck did this happen? Like, back then I didn't know much about human trafficking and I was thinking that it happens, you know, only in third world countries to people who are uneducated, from a stranger like snatches you with his car and abducts you. I didn't know that it can actually happen within a marriage. So I told myself, my problem is that I believed popular bullshit over who I naturally am, which is a very distrustful person that I prefer to do things alone, like a loner. So I said, you know something, fuck you society, honestly. I'm going to go back to who I was and I'm going to embrace having Asperger's, having schizoid traits and being paranoid, because when I was doing that, I wasn't a human trafficking victim, you know? So right now, I have reached the point that I have so many sources of income, most of them residual, that even if Kim would decide to empty our bank accounts tomorrow, our shared ones, because I have private ones as well for myself, I wouldn't care. Because I know I have money coming tomorrow, I have money coming the day after, and even if I feel sick, I don't have to work and I still get paid. That's the magic of residual income. If he decided to do something, let's say he decided to say, I'm leaving you tomorrow, I'm divorcing. I can find a new guy in less than a day. Okay, less than a day literally. And I don't say this to brag, I say this in a sense of if I can do it, so you can you. You just need to follow the steps that I'm saying throughout this channel and it can happen. So, the reason why I'm saying all of this to you is that I'm really tired and it makes me sad to see so much unhappiness, which is a result of societies and governments trying to make people dependent and weak. If you don't need someone, that's power. If you don't need a job, that's power. Because you move from neediness to choice, that I choose to be with this guy, tomorrow I may choose otherwise. I choose to be in this job, If this job fires me, if this job moves to China, I still have other sources of income. So no one wants you to think this way. Also, if you think this way, you're going to be trying a lot different things, and that makes you much less boring automatically compared to the girl who says, oh, I'm working in this office and my boyfriend is everything to me. That I see those things and I'm thinking, wow, your boyfriend's like you're asking to be cheated on, being so boring. Making yourself a Vera, making yourself something like a furniture that the guy returns home and he knows you're going to be there. So my channel doesn't cater to popular beliefs. And I'm telling you that if you're single right now, you're probably making one of those mistakes. Mistake number one, focusing on dependency, focusing on finding someone for your life to start, finding someone to care for you, finding someone to build a business with you, finding someone to be your friend. You don't need anyone. You have the one you need right now, and it's yourself. And after you build, after you level yourself up, after you are somebody, then the right people are going to come. Or you're going to attract them, or you can approach them, and when they ask who are you, you have achievements to talk about. And if that sounds materialistic or if that sounds money obsessed, I'm telling you that society is built this way. I have Asperger's. I would be so fine with a bed, a laptop, and wearing the same black clothes every day, but this is not how society works. So if you want to say that I'm not materialistic and I'm waiting for true love, you're going to end up a cheated Vera, and the men are going to discard you. Because I see that every day. If I had $1, every time a guy told me, you know, my girlfriend is in the other room, my wife is in the other room, and I'm tipping you, or I'm tipping other cam girls, or I'm watching free porn, and she has no idea, I would be a millionaire. And all of those women that they get cheated on and disrespected are good women. Are women who have invested on that guy, and that made them unattractive. The guy thinks, she's not going anywhere. I know her finances. She can't make it by herself. She's working on that job and she needs at least a roommate. Is she going to go back into her mom? Is she going to go back into poverty, homelessness? So wherever, I can see then what is she going to do. We're just going to have the talk and I'm going to promise that I'm not going to do it, and that's that. So the first step to reclaim your life is by ditching all of the dependency. Dependency needs to be a choice, not a need. I choose to bond with this person, I choose to commit with this person, but I would be fine alone too. This is very hard to understand. I have people who takes them time to understand it because there is so much blue pill programming that there's something wrong with you if you cannot bond with other people. I'm going to tell you, there are plenty of things wrong with me if you see it from a scientific viewpoint, but I'm much happier now. So if you ask me, what's the goal in your life, to be politically correct or to be happy, I would say I would be happy, and also I would be safe because my mother-in-law, the Rhodes, stole money from us. She maximized credit cards that Kim had left back into his house without him knowing. And that was major credit card fraud, and her goal was to make us break up and for him to go back and all of that. But I don't care because I have my own backup systems that they work for me. Can you imagine living life this way? Can you imagine living without having someone to control you? Because when someone can control you with money, they can control you. If someone can control you with threatening with a divorce, that's very serious. You shouldn't have to live this way. And I'm thinking a lot, many times, why does society want people to be so dependent, so weak, so thirsty for external validation that you are looking in all over the places to find friends, to find mastermind groups, to find a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Oh my God, you're so lost without it. Basically, it all boils down to capitalism, because if you need all of that junk, if you need them desperately, then you have to constantly be buying products, buying services, updating Facebook so they can steal your data, trying to fit in, work jobs you hate because, hey, that's what everybody does, they have a job. And essentially being unhappy to cater to toxic people and toxic services. I'm not saying that you should be a misanthropic crazy person living in some cave and eating grasshoppers. I'm saying you should be the one calling the shots in your life. In Kim's life was the ultimate referendum, and when I married him and every psychopath dropped the mask, my life became a referendum as well. It was insane. My life was more of a referendum in 2016 when it compared to when I was living with my mother at 16. It was more of a referendum. What do you mean by that? He needed, according to his mom and according to his friends, he needed to call them and they had to tell him his opinion about me. They would ask, I'm going to tell you a specific example and close this video to understand the level of lameness I'm talking about. His mother wanted selfies from specific touristic spots. And that was a time that I was very ill. I was in and out of the hospital because of all of the abuse. And I told her that we do not have time to take selfies. And she completely ignored us, and she would call at random times, and she would complain, and she would say, why aren't you traveling? Why aren't you taking selfies? And so on. And then she would talk to his friends, because his friends were creepily in contact with his mother, especially Justin, the gay dude. And his friends would also message him to tell him his opinion and give him their unasked advice on how he should behave. And she's your mom, she's having empty nest syndrome. And I was thinking, in my culture, like in Eastern Europe, people don't just drop by to tell you how to live your life. And if they do, everyone else watching, they're going to think that you're mentally ill or they're mentally ill or both. So eventually, because she wouldn't shut the fuck up, I said, let's go to a place to take some selfies so we can send her, and that's about it. I wasn't to the point of getting complete psycho and nuking the universe with her. So she saw the selfies and she said, oh, they look too blurry, I don't like them. And they weren't blurry. After that, I realized that we can't go on this way. And I told her, your son came here, you chose to be okay with that, and you have to let us do things our own way. You don't control us from a distance. And after that, she made the police report, and everything else is history. So, if I was the person I am today, I would say to Kim, you have one day. Either you get rid of those people, or please pack your bags. And I don't give a fuck if I'm married, I don't give a fuck if I'm wrong, because this is harassment. But not even my own family and not even my own friends were on my side. Everyone kept harassing me, and they kept saying to me, no, you need to work on things out. There is cultural difference. It's an international marriage. It's an interracial marriage. I was right all along. Those people were filthy tapeworms, his entire family. I was right all along. And because I didn't trust my gut instinct. I knew something was wrong, but things were happening at such a fast speed that I had to decide right there and then, and that was another major mistake. And that's why I'm always telling people who do sex work or who are in any kind of problematic situation, decide what your boundaries are beforehand. So when a toxic situation appears, you set the boundary that you already have inside your head. Because back then, I didn't think that things can be into human trafficking levels. I was thinking like, come on, human trafficking doesn't happen to us. What can happen? The dude may have secrets that I don't know because we dated less than a year when we got married, so whatever, I'm going to deal with it. It's not like I didn't have relationships in the past. I've been having relationships for over 10 years, ever since I was a kid. So come on, I've seen everything that there is. And I haven't seen shit when it comes to Asian old human trafficking crazy women. Yeah, I have never done that. I've never seen that. So because things were progressing too fast, I didn't have time to set the boundary. And when I decided to set the boundary after the police intervention, the damage was already done. So I'm telling you now, if I had a time machine and I could go back to say one sentence to myself, I would say, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. You're right. And myself would catch up and say, we're done here. We're done. I'm done trying to teach adults how to treat other adults. And I'm going to tell you something to close the video. If you are in an interracial relationship or in an international relationship, don't accept behaviors that you wouldn't accept inside your own race just as cultural difference. So yeah, Asian parents are most of them narcissists. They castrate their sons, they make their sons feminized sissies, and they don't teach them to stand up and be men. That's true. That doesn't mean you have to accept it. I accepted many things from Kim and his family that I would never accept from a white man, and that was also another mistake. I would say, there is one way to be a decent man and not let other people control you, and it's either that or get the fuck out. And if you're trying to tell me that I'm going to accept to be some kind of slave for an Asian woman because that's what happens in your family, I'm really sorry for your family. I'm really sorry that the people lost their lives catering to an abuser, but it doesn't happen here. Okay? So if you're watching this, I need you to take some time and think, where is your life going? To look at yourself from a third person's perspective. Are you interesting enough? Maybe you have too many people talking shit in your life, discussing things, trying to tell you who you are. Are you always in need, like a toddler, of someone to work with you, someone to validate you, someone to love you, someone to be your friend? Can you really get up right now and start doing things completely alone? If the answer is no, work on that before you do anything else. Work with a zombie apocalypse scenario in mind, that everyone else dies, your friends died, your parents died, your partner died, and you are alone. Can you make it? And when you reach a point where you can look at me and say, I can make it, that's a good point to start dating. Thank you for watching.